This is a collection of hat badges collected by Red Wasson, and Red actually was the inspiration behind all of this. He's been the driving force, but for over, I don't know how many years he's been doing it, but he's got hat badges from the First World War and the Second World War, and probably Korea as well. And this is his passion. And they're very interesting, and again, behind every one of these hat badges was a man that wore that, or a woman that wore that badge. And you don't always know the story, but it's just nice for him to be able to donate these down for this exhibit. This is an incredible collection, actually.
The Peterborough District Sports Hall of Fame Remembrance Day display is certainly an impressive one. And as Hall of Fame volunteer Pat Bronson tells us, the collection keeps growing every year.
We've done this display for a number of years, and it just keeps growing. We started with a few pictures and a few hat badges, and it's just expanded because as people heard about it, they wanted to include their family member, and we were able to actually put some veterans in that actually served in the Second World War, and they were able to come down and see the display. So we thought, well, it was very heartwarming to see that these people were still very interested, and that's the point. It's generated a lot of interest.
As interest grows, more stories are being brought to light. Many of those stories accompanied by amazing artifacts.
This is a particularly unique story. This is a trophy that was donated by this man's battalion. This fellow's name is Harold Hill, and he died the first day of the Battle of Vimy Ridge. So he died on the 9th day of April 1917. And so his battalion donated this trophy, and as far as we know, it was only a one-game event. But this beautiful trophy was donated by his company, and it languished around the city for several years before we actually got our hands on it, and I do believe it came out of the basement of Nesbitt's funeral home. But so they found it and donated it to the Hall of Fame. And it was nice because we were able to bring his family down. His descendants came down and looked at it, and they gave us some pictures and some information about the individual himself. Growing up, I don't recall talking about the military, but now it's a huge thing, and people are very interested, and the young people are very interested. So that's why we do it, and it's nice for us to commemorate and honor these people who served, especially in this building, the Memorial Center. It's very appropriate.
Amongst the displays are personal connections for many from Peterborough and surrounding areas. All is the same for Pat.
My father's over there, and my uncle. I've got a couple of uncles here, about three or four uncles, but my father's in that picture. He served in the Navy in the Second World War. He never really talked about it. You didn't hear the stories from them because they didn't talk about it until the year of the veteran, until Prince Edward came, and it was such a big deal. That's when they all actually, and people are saying that's when they all started to talk about it. And they didn't know how to express it because they just, especially those who had seen some horrific things happen, they just didn't know how to express what they felt. And I guess they weren't, at that era, they weren't allowed to express how badly they felt about it and what stress and how they had to manage all that when they got home. They just came back from the war and then stepped right back into life, you know, what was going on here at home. And it's the same as the First World War. People didn't really realize how much they sacrificed in terms of, my father was about 18, from a small town, stepped on the deck of a ship and was there for 5 years, and so you don't understand what that does to their psyche, but you know, they're just expected to come home and then keep on going.
The Peterborough District Sports Hall of Fame Remembrance Day display can be seen from now until November 15th on Tuesday and Thursday mornings from 9 to 11 a.m. Also before any Peterborough Petes games. More OHL action coming up next on your TV.